Hey YouTube, welcome to another video. As I promised, I was going to give you a little taste of them speakers that I was talking about earlier on an earlier video that I did in reference to the new receiver I got, the Yamaha receivers. Here to talk to you about that. First of all, let's get this straight. When it comes to buying a home theater receiver, okay, and this is coming from some of the experts. Actually, one expert. I won't mention his name because um well anyway, I won't mention his name because I'm not going to make him look bad if I'm misquoting him or if I'm saying something that is not true uh, to his knowledge. Okay, in other words, if I misquote him or paraphrase him in the wrong way, I don't want him to look bad. So I'm not going to mention his name, but uh, he is very knowledgeable. I watch his videos all the time. He is a fanatic. He is all into audio, uh, audiophile. I mean, he got hundreds of speakers in his apartment, and he's all into it. So he's a person that I would highly recommend to take advice from. But anyway, uh, the most important thing in buying a home theater receiver is to buy a reliable name brand. Okay, go with quality and reliability first. Okay, um, according to him, I believe his hierarchy is Denon, Yamaha, and I believe the very first on the list was Marantz. Okay, uh, so he went from Marantz, Denon to Yamaha. Okay, those are the three names that I believe he said he trusted most because they're the most reliable. They last. Their equipment, their receivers last a long time. They're not garbage. They're made with quality parts. So go with them first. And then, secondly, the most important thing to know is this is knowledge is that the the pricing is not as important when you're dealing with a couple of $100 differences. Okay, when you're dealing with a base model receiver with one step above, which may be maybe about $100, $200 more. Sound quality is not, it's not the issue there. It's going to be about the same. Also, even if the specs are even if the specs are a little higher, let's say the $200 model is 100 watt per channel, and let's say the $300 model is 130 or 140 watts per channel. That 40 watts difference is very negligible. It's not. It's nothing to really uh, make you think that one is way better than the other. Okay. Um, when you go from maybe like 100 watt to 200 watts, maybe then you'll see. You're dealing with a big difference there. Whereas and it's not quality related because you could have 100 watt receiver, and if you pair it right, if you pair it correctly with the right speakers, it'll sound way better than if you paired a 200 watt receiver with, you know, the wrong type of speakers. Okay. Um, Also, another thing I learned, not from this man but elsewhere, is that it's more important to actually have more power in your amplifier, your receiver, than it is to have more power in your speakers. Okay, let's say if you have like a speaker that's power hungry and you underfeed it, you'll do damage to that speaker. Okay, but if you have a speaker that is um, takes very little power and you tend to overpower it, you know, is less actually is less dangerous. It's less damaging to that speaker. Yeah, I mean, if you, I mean, really overdo it, you can blow them speakers, sure, but it's always safer to overpower your speakers a little bit than to underpower. Underpowering your speakers, from what I read, okay, can damage your speakers more, actually. Um, but anyway, going back to these Yamaha speakers, Yamaha receiver, the KLH speakers that I'm using now, I have used in a Technique home theater receiver, uh, about, I'm gonna say about 7 years ago, and I was never impressed. I was never impressed with these KLH speakers at all. They were only 90, I think like $99 or something like that. They were really cheap, so I didn't really expect them to perform well. So when I hooked them up and they didn't do very well, I kicked them to the back, made them the rear channel speakers, and I went and stayed with my Technique speakers that I had, the floor standing ones, and it was okay. It wasn't. I mean, if you look at my old videos of my home theater, with the projection screen and everything, that was a system that I had. I had a Technique home theater sound system with these speakers here in the back, as back channel speakers. Um, so I mean, it sounded good, but it wasn't anything that I would like, rave about. And if you look at if you watch my old videos from years ago, you'll know that I've never really raved about the sound quality. But anyway, going back to this Yamaha receiver, $259. The next model up is about $389, $400, a little bit over 400. You're not gonna find any sound quality differences. The only thing you're gonna get more of is more uh, plugs in the back to actually, uh, have more devices you can plug into the back of your receiver, and a couple of other uh, uh, options that this base model don't have. Okay, it might be maybe Wi-Fi, whatever, but I don't tend to use that, and I don't want that. So I just wanted a really clean, quality sound, and these Yamaha receivers deliver. They do. Um, I've listened to various things all day. I played music CDs. I have watched music and heard music on YouTube, and watched movies online, and watched movies on DVD and Blu-ray, and um, consistently it delivered a clean sound. But there is a certain drawback to a really quality piece of receiver, is that it's accurate. It's accurate so accurate that sometimes if you put garbage in, you're gonna get garbage out. Okay, so in other words, don't expect to don't expect really bad recordings or badly made materials to sound good. Okay, if it's made bad, it's gonna sound bad. Okay, that is the job of the receiver. The receiver is doing its job, is accurately giving you what was recorded back to you. Okay, so throughout the day, I've been listening to various things. Some things sounded really good. Some things really sounded bad. Sounded really bad. Okay, so, but consistently, I picked up on minor details here and there that made me realize that this is a very detailed, very accurate receiver. Okay, and like I said, these KLH speakers never ever impressed me ever before. Okay, but having it connected to this receiver, I am impressed. For $99, my God, I mean, to hear what I've been hearing today, I am very impressed. Far as this system here compared to the soundbar that I had all day, I've been watching news channels and things like that to just pick up on dialogue, and the dialogue was perfect because it didn't make me take notice of anything other than I could hear the dialogue and make out the dialogue, and it didn't make me feel like there's something out of the ordinary happening. What I saw, when I heard, was exactly what I expected to see and hear. So it did its job. Okay, it didn't. But to get a second and third opinion, of course, I asked the kids in this household how they liked it. The girl, my girlfriend's daughter, she personally thought that the sound bars did a better job of delivering music, and she liked the soundbar because she thought it was a little clearer and had more bass. And I had to tell her that I don't have a subwoofer right now, and I might not even get a subwoofer because I think the bass that are coming out of these speakers, depending on how the recording was made, if the recording was made with a lot of bass is reflected in these speakers. But if it's a recording that has subpar bass, then of course these speakers will give it to you uh, uh, accordingly. So she, she doesn't really spend much time here in the living room looking at TV and all that using the sound bar. She didn't. The few times that she did, she's comparing those moments to what I exposed her today of, which was these speakers. And I asked her, "Hey, come listen to this for a minute. Give me your honest opinion. What do you think?" And she said, "Well, she thought the sound bar sounded a little better, but you know, it's all up to the ear." But her brother, he's his only thing was that he thinks that a subwoofer would give it more punch, but all in all, he thought that the sound was great, and I think the sound was great. So, when you go, if you're in the market to buy this, if you're in the market to buy a receiver, go and get this Yamaha. For the price, you can't beat it. For the price, it's probably the best receiver on the market right now. I've had not Onkyo, Denon. I've had Denon. My last receiver that I owned was a Denon. I was not happy with it. Okay, it did seem to have a few features more, and it did have a rating of a little bit higher wattage and everything, but I paired it with those satellite Bose speakers, and I was not wild. I was not impressed. But pairing these real cheap speakers to this Yamaha, man, imagine if I had more expensive speakers. You know, um, I think it would just kill it. But I might get a subwoofer. I might not. I don't know. I have to really, really think about it hard. I'm definitely not going to get the rear channel speakers. Don't need it. Don't want it. The center speakers. Okay, that's one thing that I wanted to talk to you about was the center speakers. I am not getting the center speakers. Using the phantom mode where you have the center speaker in phantom mode, and I've listened to all kinds of material today, was perfect. When dialogue was happening, the phantom mode put all the dialogue in the middle of the screen coming directly at me from the center. And sometimes when the dialogue was moving to the left, it slowly moved to the left. When it was moving to the right, it slowly moved to the right. I could the placing of the dialogue is no problem. Without center speakers, it did a great job. So I'm not going to get center speakers. Number one reason is I don't want to spend that much money. Because if you get a center speaker, please, please don't get a cheap center speaker. Please do not get a mediocre center channel speaker thinking that, okay, I have these $1,000 pair of main speakers to the left and right, and now I need a center speaker, so I'm going to go pick up $100 center channel speaker. I've done that before, and trust me, no, 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 don't do it, okay? Because any expert will tell you the center speakers are just as, if not more important than the left and right speakers, okay? So whatever money you spending to get on the left and right speakers, that level of quality should be also invested in your center speaker, okay? Because majority of your sound, when you put it in that multi-channel, okay, mode, majority of your on-screen sound is going to be coming from the center channel speaker, okay? Dialogue, almost everything is going to be coming out of that center channel. Only time things move, come out of your left and right speaker is when the sound effects occur. Whenever you hear the soundtracks and the music and all the added special effects sounds occur in the movie, you'll hear it in the left and right speaker and all the movement. Okay, but when you're talking about looking at a scene where there are no activity other than dialogue and just non special effects activity, most of your sound is coming from your center channel. And this is what I've been told, this is what I've read, and this is what I've experienced. And because I've had expensive speakers, left and right speakers, and I've went and bought cheap $99 center channel speakers, and it sounded horrible. Okay, horrible, just horrible. Another thing is it's not always the equipment that gives you good quality sound. Like I said, the source of that sound, the recorded material, if it's not good, I don't care if you have a $10,000 sound system. If you have a shitty recording of something, it's gonna sound shitty. Okay, unless you digitally enhance it, unless you actually cover it up with other things, to clean it up, unless you actually go into the source of the recording and just clean it up completely and just change the way it was recorded and re-recorded or whatever, it's not going to sound good at all. Okay. Um, and that's what I've been learning all day. Is I put in all different types of material through from different sources. DVD player. I mean, the Blu-ray player from the PlayStation, from online, and all that, and playing a regular CD and all that. Just because you're playing a CD doesn't mean like I had a old album of the Police, one of their earlier works, and it was a shitty job of recording that they did in the studio or whatever, because I could never get that CD to play good or sound good in anything I've played in, expensive or cheap CD players or systems. It just is not a good recording. Okay, so that has a lot to do with your sound quality. And matter of fact, in my opinion, I think that has like 80% of 80% of the factor of what makes a good sound. Okay, you could have a inexpensive sound system that will sound really really good if your sources are really really good. Um, so I'm happy with what I got. I think this is better than the sound bar. I like it. Um, when I upgraded, the only upgrade that I would look to do is add a subwoofer to it, and I'm very very careful on that because I don't want to get cheap subwoofers. Because in actuality, you have to first find out how low of a frequency these your regular speakers can go down to. Like these bookshelf speakers, I'm estimating around 60 to 50 hertz is when you can actually hear the lowest, the bass. Okay,